And what's going on, guys? Kale here, coming at you with another video. For those of you new to the channel, I am an endgame player with 4 accounts now. The main account is actually I've been playing almost for 5 years, and the new baby account, which I'm actually currently on, is just about a little over 2 months old. So this is Caraxes over here. So as this video is entitled, and what this video is going to be about is essentially for newer players, once you do have access to Alliance War, basically just kind of some strategies as to how to kind of maximize your war effort, kind of be efficient in your war attacks, and kind of so on and so forth. So a couple things I wanted to actually touch on, and let's actually look at my roster real quick. And kind of what you're going to run into is initially with your probably first several war fights, you're really just going to be going up against other alliances that are mostly predominantly shield teams. And with that being said, shield teams are pretty easy to kind of get through. There are obviously some kind of basic things to talk about. But if you look here, in my roster, I do have a number of characters that are fairly developed for my level, and then kind of right around Spider-Man, they kind of start dropping off, and they get even kind of really bad past Green Goblin. And so basically, I'm going to show how to maximize kind of a beginner roster in War, and just kind of talk a couple things about War in general. So first and foremost, let's go on over here, and I'm going to talk about kind of maximizing your roster for both attack and for defense. So for attack, depending on how you're going about things, you are going to get a maximum of 10 war attacks for free, and then you can refresh your war energy up to a maximum of an additional 4 times, for a max total of 14 war attacks. And the currency for that is actually going to be in the Blitz store. It's this War Energy refill over here. This energy is going to cap out at 900, and the cost of the refills is going to basically scale as you go up. So the first refresh is going to cost you 150 of these. The next one is 200. The third one is going to be 250, and then the last one is going to be 300. So if you do kind of maybe find yourself in a place where you've got the spare Blitz credits, and you're maybe kind of getting close to done being farmed all the characters that are in the Blitz store, this might be an option. But I'm going to take these war attacks as a free-to-play player, and you're kind of going to see a couple things. So we're going to look at our carrier here, and typically the best strategy is to go down the middle, and the reasoning behind that is just because the way the war rooms work. So basically, once you clear a section, so each room is going to have 2 sections comprising of 20 teams. And once you do clear one of the sides, what it'll do is it'll unlock the room underneath it. So in this scenario, in Flight Deck 2, and I'm just going to call it FD2, if we were to clear the right side, what's then going to happen is this next room opens up, which is the armory. Now, the reason the middle is the more efficient strategy is because once we get access to this armory over here, you're going to notice a couple things. It's got what is called a global buff, and what this means is while this room is active, these buffs are being applied throughout the war. So with this one, all attacking enemies on... Now, this is going to be for essentially our defensive opponents. So basically our enemy, they're all going to get 20% to their primary stats when they're attacking, and they're also going to get an extra 10% for military allies. So it's really important to kind of get rid of these global rooms, as what it kind of does is it diminishes our opponent's buffs, and it's going to make it easier for us to kind of continue clearing them. Now, while this isn't necessarily a big problem in the early game, it's kind of strategies that are used in the late game. Now, what makes the middle section unique is once we clear this section over here, so this middle, what's going to happen is not only is it going to unlock the room underneath it, but it's also going to unlock the rooms to the side of it. And that's going to happen whenever you full clear a room. It'll actually unlock the rooms that are adjacent to it. So with that strategy, if you were to go down the left and say full clear security, it's only going to unlock the armory and the reactor underneath it. Whereas if you go down the middle, it's going to unlock security, engineering, and cargo bay. So it just kind of gives you a max, it maximizes what's available. Because basically when the war starts, the only thing that's viewable by us is basically the top row, and that's the flight deck. And based off of where we attack, kind of decides what gets unlocked. Now everyone's helicarrier is going to be set up a little bit differently. And so rooms you're going to kind of be like high priority are global rooms. So we have the armory, the cargo bay, the med bay, and the barracks. Now something else that's kind of unique when you are clearing a room, each room for the most part is going to have a room clear bonus. So you'll get 5 points for each clear. So each side is going to be worth 50 points. And then in the non-special rooms, basically only the reactor and the bridge are going to have different points. You're going to get an additional 50 points. So for every room that is cleared, it's essentially 150 points. Now, the reactor and the bridge are a little bit different. You're still going to get 5 points for clearing each section, but once you clear those given rooms, you'll get 100 for the reactor, and you actually get 200 for the bridge. So typical strategy is most people will normally try to clear the global rooms first and just basically neuter the enemy. And once that's done, then people will typically go after the bridge and the reactor. Now, while we are talking these rooms, let's talk about defense. And we'll look at my defense in particular. So I kind of have a little bit of a hybrid situation going on. So basically, I don't have enough characters to put on defense that are going to be better than these shield teams. So kind of what I've done is I do have a couple teams over here that are almost full teams, but what I've done is I've added kind of one strong character to these teams just to kind of give them a little bit of a boost, and it's going to make it a little bit harder for the enemy to kind of go in and clear these. So like looking, I've still left myself 10 attack characters. So we look here, we've got 4, and that's going to be 8, and that's 9, 10. So I've also left myself kind of 2 characters in backup. So actually let's add, let's change this just a little bit. I'm going to add Kestrel here. And let's go in here and let's go ahead and add in Nemesis. And we'll add that. And basically kind of what I've done is I've created kind of defenses that are going to be just a little bit harder to clear. And hopefully it'll be a little bit more challenging for the opponent. Now, pretty much any developed roster is not going to have like an issue clearing these, as these are still fairly easy to clear. But I'm trying to make it as challenging as possible with the resources that I have available to me. So another thing I like to do too is I like to kind of scale my defense up. So, basically when you're looking at it, the easier teams are at the beginning, and then it kind of gradually scales up as we go a little further. And actually, I think I can probably let's add in a couple more people. So in here, let's go ahead and add Kate Bishop. And on this one, let's go ahead and add in, we'll add in Dagger over here. So basically what this is this is just a slightly, beefed up defense. So I have my 10 characters on defense, and I have left myself 12 characters to attack with. And what I want to do is I kind of want to go in and attack efficiently. So kind of what we're going to look at here is, I actually can't practice on the shield teams, which is actually kind of annoying. Let me see something. Okay, so these ones I can actually practice on for some reason. So I'm going to kind of show y'all how I attack. Now, when you're going up against these shield teams, they're pretty easy. So you're looking here, all of the characters are just about 3k. So kind of a grand total of the team is 15k. So you can honestly probably go in with a character that is in the 15k mark, and you could probably go through this pretty easily. Now you're going to see here, I do have all of my characters that are available, even though I have some of these people on defense. But what I would do in these situations is I will go and I kind of pick my top 10 characters. So normally, actually kind of the characters towards the top of the roster. But let's say we'll go in with Captain America. And then what I do, he could go in and he could actually solo this. But what I do is I typically, just to kind of just put other targets on the field, is I'll go in with 4 kind of just default characters. And I'll go in, and these fights are going to be super easy with the shield teams. So I'm going to go in and I'm basically just going to attack it. It's going to be super quick. And you'll kind of see that you're able to clear these teams without taking in like a fully developed one. So you look there, we basically just did that. These extra 4 characters that I brought with me are going to die. But if you see there, Captain America is only taking like 23 damage. So realistically, I mean, I really could have gone in there with just Captain America and it would have been fine. I just like to use the characters because they're there. But that's kind of what you're going to do with those like shield teams. You can literally take in one character and probably steamroll them. I wouldn't go with a character under like 13k, just because you'll probably have a little bit of a harder time. But like, let's see. Let's go in with like Hela, for example. Actually, no, Hela's a bad example because she summons a minion. Let's go in with Spider-Punk. So he's 14k. And you'll kind of just see, the dynamic of the way it works with like a stronger character than these minions. Typically what I like to do is I go in with like about 2 to 3 times the minion team power. So you look there, I mean, I basically, almost took them all out. And he's still not getting hit for very much. He's got a lot of AoE, so he's a good character for this. But boom, nice and easy. So you could probably go in with characters that are in like the 20k mark and have no issue dealing with these shield teams. And you can literally go in with a solo character and you're fine. Now, the reason I suggested kind of doing a defense like mine, and let me see if I can find someone that's got kind of something comparable to what I did. Nope. That is a full developed section. Okay, so here we go. So here we are in that same scenario where we have like a single solo character that is quite a bit more powerful than these shield minions. So, for example, let's look at this one over here. Let's not do Spider Weaver because she is a bit of a unique character, but we'll go in here against Gamora. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in that same team as I did earlier, and let's see if I have as easy of a time basically clearing this section. And chances are I probably won't. Gamora hits really hard, so we might be able to outsurvive her with Captain America, but it's going to be a much harder fight. And that's kind of the idea behind the defense that I suggested. So Gamora goes in there. She is like murdering my minions over here. Let's go in. We will get rid of those. And so basically what this fight is going to come down to is pretty much going to be my Captain America versus their Gamora. Let's get rid of her over here. And I believe Captain America should be able to take her, as he is a bit stronger than she is. But you see here that this fight is going a lot different. And actually, I think Gamora is going to take me out here. Let's see. But so that's basically, when I was talking about bringing in that one character, you see the big difference that it makes in the defense. So Gamora actually is going to take me out because even if I'm able to kill her once, she is going to revive, and I'm definitely not going to be able to get her a second time. And so this is why bringing in that one character really can make a drastic difference with that shield team. Now, I probably could have taken her out if I brought another second stronger character, but doing the same strategy that I did earlier didn't work out. So it's something to kind of be, aware of. And when you're looking at going against these teams, yeah, my Captain America by himself might be 65k, but he's not enough to take out this Gamora. Now, if I brought in, let's say, let's see. So we'll bring characters that are essentially, not on defense. So these would be some of my extra characters. So I'm going in, and in a situation like this, I've got almost 2 times the amount of power as her. So I think in this case, I should be a little bit better. So you really want to be careful with your war attacks. You don't want to waste them, essentially. What I'm doing right now is I'm actually in practice mode, and what you can go in is you can basically look at your alliance mate's defense, and you can essentially practice. And it's a really cool feature that kind of gives you the opportunity to learn how some of these fights go. If you're looking to kind of test out a team, it's a great place to test characters out without any repercussions, because if you lose the fight, nothing's going to happen. Whereas if you lose a fight in a real war, you're out in attack. And like I mentioned, you're only going to get 10 attacks free to play. So, or not free to play, but without using those war charges. Which you can get free to play also. But so now, we're seeing here, we've got kind of a similar situation where we're basically down to just the Gamora, but we've got a lot more attack power this time around, and, we're doing obviously a lot better. So this time we actually should probably be able to take Gamora out, assuming she doesn't kill everyone here. But so, this is definitely something to look at is, while you are learning these war fights, and I'm actually going to lose this again, but while you're still learning these war fights, it's kind of just good to go in and just see what your roster is capable of. Like I said, for these early wars, you really only need like 10 fairly developed characters, so basically 10 characters over about 20k, and they should be able to carry you through a war, especially when you're going up against alliances that are really just shield teams. And let me see, we are probably actually not going to win this one either. This Gamora is quite beefy, which good for, I have to look at the room that I'm in, but yeah, so, it's definitely something to kind of look at and just kind of play around with. And certainly you can reach out in the Discord if you are needing some assistance with, either building up your offense teams or which teams you could possibly use on offense. Let's see if we are able to... Yeah, Gamora's healing up here. So we are not going to be able to probably get through this Gamora again. Which is pretty crazy. Captain America isn't exactly the best in offense. I'm actually going to quit out of this as this is quite tedious. But again, so that's something to even consider. I went in with a team that was almost 2 times as strong, and that Gamora was actually still able to basically, hold her own. And looking at it here, actually, so the person on defense here, I'm going to say Husker, has actually done something kind of smart in the sense where a lot of his defensive characters that are the strong ones are actually healers. And so basically that Gamora is out healing the damage I can do. So... But yeah, that's just kind of, I guess, a quick little walkthrough of war. Go in here and, set a defense if you're able. Like I said, sometimes it involves just 1 or 2 characters. And you can go in, and before this war starts, you can actually go in and select one of us. You can pick my room, for example, if you want to practice against, kind of one strong character in shield teams, as well as a couple other, stronger teams. And other people's defense, I think Husker over here, that was it Cargo Bay? Bear with me, y'all. I have lost Husker. Husker, there we go. So, like, on Huskers, that doesn't work. I think it was over here. So yeah, like in Flight Deck 2, if you want to practice against some shield teams... I don't know why that's not letting me do that now. You should be able to find one that has some shield teams you could practice on, because I did it at some point in this video. Alright, my apologies, y'all. I know I practiced on a shield room. I just seem to have lost it. But anyway, make sure you go in here, practice some war fights, and here we go. Flight Deck 3, you can practice shield teams. So you can practice a fight against a shield team, see what works, see what doesn't. You can practice against some stronger teams as well, see what works, see what doesn't. And if you all have any questions on just how war works in general, feel free to reach out in the questions sections on Discord or in the war channel specifically. As always, if you did find this video helpful, I do want to thank you so much for watching. Hope you are having a good week. Take it easy, and I will see you next time.